All right. Good evening once again, everyone. Thank you so very much for coming out. The QR code on the screen, just a quick correction, is for you guys to check in to let us know you're here. So click that QR code and let us know who's in the room. All right. Again, just some quick housekeeping rules. The bathrooms are over there. We have DYCD staff, raise your hand. They're in the building to assist if you have any questions, concerns throughout the evening. You can always ask one of them. They're here to assist. All right, we have a packed agenda, a lot of resources and a lot of information. We will give time at the end for you to visit the resource tables all around. I know you all have been visiting them when you came in. We'll give time at the end for that. As we bring up each of the presenters, they're going to do their presentation. Write down your questions because you're going to hold them until the end. We'll have a 20-minute Q&A. So just document, as you hear the presentation, just document which one of our fabulous speakers you want to ask that question, and we'll get to that portion at the end of all of our presentations, okay? One thing I did not do is introduce myself. So, I'm Ebony Jordan Wilson, Associate Commissioner for Community Development at DYCD. So glad you all came out on this nice frigid Tuesday evening. And so, without further ado, we're going to get this program started. All right, first up, to kick us off, I will introduce my Deputy Commissioner, Mike Bobbitt, to welcome all of you. Take it away, Mike.
Thank you, Ebony. Good evening. I saw you talking about the mic. I had to raise it just a little bit, right? Oh my gosh. Thank God it didn't snow again this past weekend, right? We're able to get through to tonight. That last couple of minutes made a huge difference because I've been sitting watching people filling in from the front, and I wanted to say, tell people to come to the front. Y'all are very well behaved. You came to the front, and it allows us to hear one another. We have the mics. We can really hear one another, and if anyone comes in late, they can still be seated. This is a wonderful attendance. So I really want to acknowledge you all for being here. And sometimes I say this for the end, but I want to make sure that I don't forget this. So Ebony had colleagues raise their hands. If you're with DYC, can you raise your hand one more time? And can we acknowledge we didn't get here without a lot of hard work among our colleagues, right? And so I wanted to single them out and give special thanks to them. I want to acknowledge all of our other city agencies who are here. You'll be hearing from them all in turn. They brought resources. They brought information. And one of the things we were talking about is during the pandemic, we all had to adjust and adapt. So we had a lot of Zoom meetings, we had a lot of WebEx meetings, and we were talking about how appreciative we are that we're back in the streets and meeting in person. So you can click the QR codes, and you should register, and we'll have other meetings that'll be virtual, and you can certainly follow up via email, via phone. But let's acknowledge there's also a power in being together, right? There's these resources, there's these tables. I have my colleagues nodding to that fact, and I would be remiss if I didn't also point out the power of you being able to network with one another. I had an opportunity to talk to several folks, some familiar, some not, while we were waiting. And so I know there's a lot of people who are up to a lot of good stuff in this room who want to serve their fellow New Yorkers. So you want to get to know each other just like we want to get to know you and make sure you get to know the other city resources. So I send acknowledgement on behalf of the Mamdani administration, on behalf of my many colleagues here at DYCD. Yep, let's clap it up. For our new mayor, for our administration, and I'm going to talk a little bit and try to wind it up to bring it to today about a rich history of actively trying to engage this community. So under its prior name, Building Bridges, and first, show of hands, how many of you, if any, have been to a Building Bridges in the past? Building Bridges event. I see a few hands going up. Building Bridges' initial goal was to connect resources within each of the communities we serve, and the first event was actually held 15 years ago out of our agency's broader commitment to ensuring organizations closest to the community are positioned to partner effectively with the city. with the city. And building bridges and the related faith-based capacity building efforts we've done over the past few years have been underway with documented engagement, programming, and increased involvement and success. And this initiative has evolved primarily from informational sessions, sort of like this one, to multi-session capacity building, technical assistance delivery, and application support designed to help organizations navigate city systems, right? One of the things that I look at and I wanted to share with this audience as we were getting to this evening is efficacy, you know? So we had about, in 2023, we had maybe about 108 people who said as a result of what we did, they took action. And about the same number in 2024. So far there's at least 150 faith-based and community-based organizations that have shown us that this has made a difference, that has helped them further along their way. And as I think about the wide range of services and supports that DYCD funds, oh, okay. See, that's the thing. They told me I had 10 minutes. I said I only need 6 minutes. Apparently I've already taken 3 of my 6 minutes, right? I know there's a wide range of services that you deliver, and hand in hand we do for the benefit of the community, whether it's youth workforce development, after school, child care, food services, anti-poverty programs, public health and mental health supports, education, literacy, housing, legal benefits and services. I know that it runs the gamut in what we do together. What I want to point to and when I want to think about the trajectory where we're heading, right? 56% of the people who participated told us they applied for city funding in 23, and that number went up to 63% in 24. So I'm looking and listening, and my team's looking and listening. When we get to the spring, we want to know, in 2026, do we do better? Are we going to do better this year? Yes. We've done great, but we're going to do even better this year? That's what I want to hear, right? So let me close by saying the focus for this year and going forward is a shift. So I mentioned building bridges, but we're at a resource connections event, right? So we're very intentional, and DYCD, among things, is a learning organization. We pay attention and we readjust based on what's really needed and how it's needed. So we want to shift from just raising awareness to successful participation. Let's talk about step-by-step guidance you need on filling out city funding applications. Let's talk about the passport-specific technical assistance that you may need. Let's talk about small group and organization-specific support that you may need. Let's talk about talking in plain English language. The cities are awash in acronyms a lot of the time, right? We're not going to do that tonight. Catch me if I do it. I haven't done it so far, though. Other than DYCD, I don't think I've done it, right? So I could go on and on, but the cards say I can't go on and on. I'm delighted that you're here. You have the right team from across the agency, across all the divisions. You know, I single out, he's probably in the back of the room, my Associate Commissioner Val Lopez. If you end up getting a discretionary contract, we'll probably be working with you hand in hand because there's so much discretionary work that happens at DYC. But whether it's with DYC or any of the city's agencies, we wish you success. We wish you success, and we want to stand there with you to see your organizations grow, because we know that you, like we, are focused on bettering the community. Thank you again for being here. I have to give this seat to someone else, so I'm not leaving, okay? I'm not just walking out and I'll be at the back of the room. But thank you very much for being here. Keep getting the information and make sure you exchange information with one another. Take care.
He's actually given that seat to me so I can bring up our amazing speakers. All right, thanks, Mike. Give it up again for our Deputy Commissioner, Mike Bobbitt of Community Development. All right. All right, we have some great information, some great presenters. We're going to get right to it. So first up, from DYCD, Department of Youth and Community Development, we have Kiana Davis Johnson, the Capacity Building Specialist from our DYCD Capacity Building Support Team. Everybody give it up for Kiana.
Thank you, Ebony, and good evening, everyone. I'm Kiana, and I am part of the DYCD Capacity Building Office. Can we advance the slide, please? Thank you. So this evening I'll do a brief overview of what we do, how we support organizations, and share with you a few upcoming opportunities for you all. So in capacity building, We are a small but mighty team at DYCD. We fund about 13 technical assistance providers. You'll hear me say TA often, technical assistants. And they cover a wide variety of content areas. We have fiscal management. We have organizational development. We have HR, and I'll give you an example. So if you are an organization and you are receiving a contract, it sounds great. We have a TA provider who can help you construct a budget. What does it mean when you receive an advance from the city? How do you account for that? So we are very intentional about how we structure our offerings and the TA providers that we bring on to support everyone. You see on the slide where it says program level and organizational level. Basically, that means we help support all of your staff, whether those are group leaders, activity specialists, program directors, executive directors, and oftentimes we will look to work with your board as well. And capacity building, it matters. We really believe in empowering organizations from, like I said, all levels. And so, we want to make sure that you have access to these offerings. And so, by show of hands, anyone here currently funded by DYCD? I see a couple of hands. Okay, all right. So those that are currently funded by DYCD, all of these TA offerings are available and at no cost to your organization. We invest heavily into TA, but it does not come out of your organization's budget. And so for those that are currently funded, you have access through DYCD Connect, your online portal. If you don't know how to get there, your first point of contact is your program manager. And then you also have capacity building as well as a support. And for those of you not yet funded, we don't want you to walk away empty-handed. So we have prepared a menu of free TA offerings that you can have access to starting today. And you'll find those resources to the table to my right, their registration information, and also a contact should you have any questions. So we encourage everyone to review it, sign up, and be part of this network of organizations. Next slide. And one more opportunity I want to share with you all is that we do work with CUNY as well. And so we're happy to share with you another opportunity, the Family Development Credential Program, FDC, you'll hear. And so this program is nationwide. And what DYCD does is that we have scholarships that we make available through an application process. The details are here. We offer it on 2 levels, so your frontline staff and supervisors. And it's really open to anyone to apply, whether you're a caseworker, social worker, you're running a Head Start. It's really open, and I encourage folks to look into this as well. The next opportunity to apply will be in June or July of this year. And like I said, any questions, you have the DYCD capacity building contact information on the flyer. So just want to thank you all again for attending, and please take advantage of these opportunities.
Thank you so much, Kiana. All right, next up, we have Mike Cedillo, the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Nonprofit Services.
Thank you. Thank you for saying my last name correctly, by the way, too. I've heard every kind of variation. Hello, good to see so many familiar faces. Raise your hand if you work at a nonprofit. All right, thank you so much for your service. Really, I want you all to see yourself the way we see you, which is really building and maintaining the city's social safety net. It has long been a hidden secret that the city government, we don't do directly SYEP, or many of the shelter providers or shelter system or crisis management. That's not us directly doing that. That's in partnership with our nonprofit provider partners. And it's really important for us to be able to tell that story in and day out, because it's critical, the work that you do for our New Yorkers and the essential services you provide. So thank you so much. I do want to just point out, Mike Bobbitt, or Deputy Commissioner Bobbitt earlier mentioned that one of the things we want to get out of today is helping you navigate city systems. And that's really what we're all about at the Mayor's Office of Nonprofit Services. I often hear people talk about the bureaucracy or how difficult it is to work with bureaucracy and how much red tape there is. And then I asked them, well, what is bureaucracy? And really, it's all the DYCD folks who raised their hand today, that's bureaucracy. It's just people. That's it. There's no one behind the machine working it. It's the people here. And as you can tell from the people here at DYCD and all our sister agencies, we really care about making sure you're set up for success. And so our job at the Mayor's Office of Nonprofit Services and working with our nonprofit partners is to get the people in that bureaucracy aligned and in formation to be able to best serve you, because we don't partner with any of you just because you're really good at jumping through bureaucratic hoops. Like, you don't win an RFP or a discretionary contract because, man, you filled out your passport profile faster than anybody else. That's not the reason. We do it because you are connected to the community. You understand the community better than we can and the city. And we want you to focus on that rather than going through the hoops that we require you to. So that's our job, to make that a better process for you and to have our sister agencies treat you like the customer that you are. So if you continue, maybe if I pretend to click it. Wow, that did work. Amazing. Quick background on us. We're a newer office, so if you didn't know about us, now you do. I'm the executive director of the office. Miguel Bonilla is back at our table as well, a former DYCDer. If you want to learn more about us and our offerings, head back. Yes, Miguel, very popular in the sector of DYCD. Relative knowledge, please do visit our table back there to learn more about our services. Full stop. We're there for you, nonprofit providers, just like you're there for New Yorkers, right? That's our job, is to help make sense and to have the bureaucracy be responsive and treat you like a customer. So that's what we focus on every single day. One of the things I do want to point out when I talk about bureaucracy just being people, every city agency, including DYCD, has a chief nonprofit officer. And that is really important because they are there for you. It's an executive order that was created a year ago. Mayor Mamdani re-promulgated this executive order, and I think first or second day in office, that establishes at each city agency someone who is there for you, who can help you navigate issues, problem solve with you. They're your ombuds people. So if you don't know who they are, you can go to our website or go to tinyurl.com/chief nonprofit officers. That's tinyurl.com/chief nonprofit officers. Every agency's chief nonprofit officer is there. So anytime you get stuck, come to us. But your agency partners are there for you as well. I'll just quickly, let's see if it works. Yeah, nice. Here's our team. I won't dwell on that. We have an amazing team of folks who are really creative and hacking bureaucracy and solving problems. But the next slide, wow, nice, is a little bit about our strategic pillars. I won't dwell on that because I have, how long do I have? Oh, gosh, okay. Click. We do a lot of things, but there for you like they're there for New Yorkers. I do want to just make sure you know capacity building is really important. It's one of our strategic pillars. In fact, it's what Miguel leads for our office. We do a number of ways in which we support our nonprofit providers. Training, and I'll tell you in a second the different training opportunities we have. We answer questions one-off. We're always there and love to help providers and partners with any quick ad hoc questions that they have. We also try to provide cross-sector learning opportunities. We have hosted the first ever Excellence in Human Service Delivery Award ceremony at Gracie Mansion last year. So a lot of those. And lastly, I'll just leave you with our upcoming calendar of capacity building trainings. Oh, I'm sorry, click, thanks. Nonprofit essentials. Look out for these opportunities. Follow us on social media to see these opportunities to apply, to join these training cohorts. We're really big on building community the same way that you all are in community here, to help demystify processes and set you up for success in the contracting and payment process. So here's a little bit about what we have upcoming. Please talk to us afterwards, and we'd love to tell you more, and we'd love to meet you. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Mike. All right, next up we have Jahai Rose, the Director of Public Engagement and Partnerships at the CCRB.
Because I don't want to lose my first 3 minutes, I'm not going to repeat my title. Just going to repeat my name, Jahai Rose. I work for the New York City Civilian Complaint Review Board. And I want everyone to do me a really quick favor. Take a deep breath and say, nobody's perfect. And that goes for our members of the New York City Police Department that are sworn to serve and protect the city of New York. The CCRB is a city agency that's responsible for taking, receiving, and hearing complaints about police misconduct. So if you do have an interaction with a New York City police officer and you feel uncomfortable with that encounter, the CCRB is here to investigate, mediate, and in some cases administratively prosecute that complaint. Our agency is staffed with civilians, so our agency doesn't include the New York City Police Department. We have a board that is staffed by members of the New York City electorate for the most part. So the mayor appoints people to the board, the city council appoints 5 people to the board, the public advocate has an appointee to the board, and the New York City police commissioner has a member to the board. The type of allegations that we investigate include force, abuse of authority, discourtesy, and offensive language. So if an individual has a complaint about police misconduct, we are very accessible. The ways that you access us would be online at our website, nyc.gov/CCRB complaint. You could also call our hotline, 1-800-341-CCRB or 1-800-341-2272. If you do see police misconduct, whether it's in person or if you see it on news media or if you see it on social media, you could also file a complaint even though you were not there in person. That changed to allow more people to be able to provide complaints to the CCRB because we can't be everywhere at all times. But if you do see something that makes you uncomfortable involving a New York City police officer, feel free to file that complaint with us and we'll be able to go forward with an investigation as long as that issue falls within our categories. Other ways to file that complaint include going on social media. We have a Facebook account, Twitter account or X, and we have an Instagram account. You could direct message the CCRB for information. Does everyone have the favorite number for the city of New York, 311? You could also call 311 to notify us about a complaint that you have. You could also go to a local police precinct. At the local precinct, you can file the complaint there with the desk sergeant. If you do not feel comfortable leaving that complaint there, you could then ask for a self-addressed envelope and a form, put that in the self-addressed envelope, no postage necessary, forward that to the CCRB. CCRB also has youth services. So we have a youth advisory council. Our youth advisory council are a group of young people that are aged 10 to 18 that serve as a committee. They mainly have a focus in social justice. They want to see improved police and community relations, especially for our young people. And as a part of that, they do a social work project or a social service project that allows them to be able to help towards fixing that relationship between the police department or encouraging the CCRB to find different methods to connect with young people. They work with us annually. Now the CCRB's outreach unit, who I'm responsible for leading, is our agency's ability to be able to educate the public on what we do. So the service that we specifically provide is to bring this information to your community, to your participants, to your neighborhood. A lot of people don't know what we do. Some people don't trust what we do. So our responsibility is to explain it in a way that makes sense to the person listening, to build trust in neighborhoods so that they know we will do what we say we will do. And we have varied methods to be able to do that. In the past couple of years, especially since COVID, we got very, very, very creative in how we do things. We try to make a concerted effort to bring those services to members of the public. So we do block by blocks. We do presentations in local barbershops. We do presentations in any space that people feel comfortable being in, because as a young person, what I learned is that sometimes if you didn't bring that information to me, I wasn't going to go find it if you had it somewhere where I wasn't willing to go. So that being the case, our responsibility is to work with community organizations, work with community members, and make sure we provide information that members of the public can use, and they could use it in an effective way that helps us further the city of New York. Thank you all very much, and I'll be here to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Jahai. All right, next up we have Sandra Choi, the Community Initiatives Director for NYC Service.
Hi everyone, good evening. It's a joy to be in community with all of you here tonight. My name is Sandra and I represent a city agency called NYC Service. So quick show of hands, who has heard of our agency? Great, like 5%. So I'm glad we're here tonight to introduce our agency to you. NYC Service is pretty unique in its scope and mission. We promote volunteerism and service for all New Yorkers. We believe that bringing people together is really one way we can address the most pressing needs in our communities. And so we're really one of the few civic engagement agencies of its kind in the country that work inside a city agency umbrella. So we're in a very unique position to do a lot of good. So in my role, the text is really small. I think everyone's going to get a copy. So in my role, I work exclusively with the nonprofits that organize and manage volunteers. How many people here represent a nonprofit and you recruit it? Wonderful. So you should all come see me and my colleague Erica at the table after this panel presentation. So we have I'm highlighting 3 resources that we offer for nonprofits that you can look into immediately. One is called the Civic Impact Fund. It is a grant program that awards up to $10,000 for nonprofits that want to build or manage your volunteer management programs. And then we have a program called AmeriCorps or CivicCorps. So if you are a nonprofit, you can apply to host a member at your site, and Erica back there manages that, and you can come see her. And then I also want to promote our website, newyorkcityservice.org. It's a really rich resource where you can post and recruit volunteers. We also post our trainings, capacity building measures for you to also build your volunteer systems. And GVMS is a work booklet that's also available on our website if you want 20 topics of how you can build your own volunteer management system. Great. So the Civic Impact Fund, fortuitous timing because the applications for that open next week, next Monday. Again, we provide up to $10,000. There's a variety of uses you can use for the program. Some to pay volunteer stipends, volunteer recognition events, trainings for your volunteers, investing in volunteer management systems, and there's program benefits. We're developing this as a cohort style, so you learn from your peers. You'll be working alongside about 20 nonprofits who also have the same aim and mission as you. Next slide, please. So this is an overview of the organizations that we worked with last year in 2025. As you can see, we're spread out throughout the 5 boroughs. Anyone here, have you worked with any of the nonprofits that are up on the board? Great. Which organization? Oh, great. Wow, superstar. Anyone else? Great. Oh, wow. I'm glad we have a heavy presence in the Bronx. We had about six grantees last year. So if you volunteered with them, work with them, please encourage them to reapply for a program which opens up next week. Next slide. So just our impact by numbers, you can see of the 20 groups that we worked with in 2025, we were able to mobilize about 4,500 volunteers that contributed, served about 400,000 New York City residents. And then the other program that I want to promote tonight is AmeriCorps. I think we have a member here and an alum here. So if you want a testament to how great our program is, so you can apply to host a fellow at your nonprofit or I think our city agency. So please come see Erica for more details. That program is also opening up mid-February. And so if you look at our website, if you're a nonprofit, you can post your job opportunities, your volunteer opportunities, and also recruit volunteers. These are some stats of how much activity we get, so you can also be part of, building those connections. So I hope if you remember anything from my presentation, NYC Service is a city agency, and we work with volunteers, and you should come see me and Erica if you work or manage volunteers. So we can help you build that up. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandra. All right, next up, we have Jacques Brunville, Senior Liaison from our sister agency, Small Business Services.
Thank you, and good afternoon, good evening, everyone. First, I want to say thank you to our partners at DYCD. Thank you so much for your effort in organizing all of us here today, and thank you for including us into this event. And thank you to all of you for coming out to learn about all these different services and opportunities that we have from all the different city agencies in the room. Let's get started. My name is Jacques Brenville. I'm a senior liaison at the city's Department of Small Business Services, and throughout this presentation, I'm going to talk about the different resources we have for entrepreneurs throughout the city. I also have my team back there, Ari and Teresa, who have all of this information in paper form for you to take with you, so please take the time to stop by our table and learn more about all these different programs. Here, highlighted are all the different things that we have to offer for New Yorkers, and you can find support for all of these things at what we call NYC Business Solution Centers, and that's where you can talk to a small business counselor or a finance account manager about the different things that you need in order to start or operate your business. And so we provide things like business courses, legal assistance, finance assistance, in different incentives. Learn about the incentives that you qualify for, navigating the rules of government, recruitment. We can support you with your recruitment needs. Training. We can support you with training your staff. Selling to government. Learn how to contract with the government. We have a lot of courses dedicated to just that alone. And of course, we're the agency that manages the MWBE certification program, which I'll talk about. Next slide, please. And talking about finance assistance, I'm very happy to share with you that just this year, we are announcing this new product called the NYC Future Fund. And this fund was created in response to a lot of businesses who may operate more seasonally or who may get a contract this month, but not a contract the next month. And so there's a lot of ebbs and flows into what their revenue looks like. And with this Future Fund, we're going to be working with businesses on a regular basis to determine what that payback will look like based off of the revenue that they're pulling in each month or each quarter. And so you can use this for a wide range of things, recruitment, training, space, equipment. There's a wide range of things you can use this money for, and there's very competitive rates. And so everyone here in the room are some of the first people to hear about this brand new fund. We're officially announcing it next month in March, but please, we have flyers in the back. Take some time to learn more about the NYC Future Fund. The other thing that we do is we provide business courses anytime, anywhere. You can access our courses through our Eventbrite, and we cover a wide range of topics, whether it be legal considerations, marketing, or finance. So those are the main topics that we cover, but we're always working with our partners to develop new offerings that meet the needs of the entrepreneurs that are out there. Now, we know NYC is a tough place to do business, and as an agency, we're here to save entrepreneurs time and money, and that's where our NYC Best team comes in. They act as a mediator between you and the different regulatory agencies that you have to work with in order to operate your business. And so we encourage folks to get in touch with our team to help them operate and start their ventures. We have our emergency response team. Our emergency response team responds to any disaster you're dealing with as a business owner. Fires, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, all those different things. And insurance, working with the electric companies. They can do so much to make sure that you're getting back on your feet. And they also help you prepare for these different disasters. So they can do a free business resiliency walkthrough and make sure that you're prepared to deal with these different emergencies. You might be in a flood zone and not even know it yet. So, next slide. We can also work with you to find the right candidates you need in order to operate your business. Maybe you're a food business and you need someone with a food handler's license. We can make sure we send those people to you who have the qualifications you're looking for, so that way you can stay focused on operating your business. This is our minority women business MWBE program. Minority Women Business Enterprise Certificate. And there's a lot of contracting agencies that prioritize those who have this certification for certain opportunities. Please learn more about the certification program. Next, not only do we do the MWBE certification, but we also, through our Apex Accelerator, can teach you how to contract with the government on all three levels. That's city, state, and federal, and you do not need to be certified in order to enter into this program. So if you're looking to contract with the government at any level, check out our Apex Accelerator. And then finally, you can stay connected with SPS through our business solution centers, through social media, through our hotline, and please subscribe to our newsletter. We're always having different events, different opportunities like grant opportunities, new program offerings. Please stay updated with us. Again, my team is right back there. We have all the information to share with you. We'll be happy to answer any questions or comments, and thank you all.
Thank you so much, Job. All right. Next up, we have Abram Rodriguez, Civic Corps member from the New York City Mayor's Office of Contract Services.
Good evening, New York. I am Abram. I'm one of the Civic Corps members being hosted over at the Mayor's Office of Contract Services. So definitely a big shout out to NYC Service for coordinating that program. Thank you so much for having me here. So I'm going to go over demystifying NYC contracting for emerging nonprofits such as yourself. So just real quick, by show of hands, how many of y'all already know the next steps to take for NYC contracting? Not many. Oh, I see. So how many of you have absolutely no clue on what to do next? I came to the right place, it looks like, huh? No problem. So what we're going to go through next is I'm going to share a little bit about MOX. We're going to go through some information in regards to contracting with the city. I have a really, really nice picture for you guys. It's called the Contracting Roadmap. You're going to love it. And then after that, I'm going to share some MOX resources to just help you guys get stuff done. Next slide, please. All right, the Mayor's Office of Contract Services, what are we? We're also known as MOX, and we are we lead procurement in New York City. We serve as an oversight and service agency, so we're dedicated to making it easier to do business with the city. We're here to ensure that the procurement process is equitable and transparent. Right? So one of the ways we do this is managing Passport. Some people have been talking about Passport lately, so that's our thing. I already hear some O's in the background. But the City of New York's digital procurement system, right, is you can think of Passport as a marketplace. As a marketplace used to purchase the goods and services needed to make New York City run. And as we all know, the city never sleeps, right? So as a vendor, you'll use Passport to share information about your organization and just complete tasks to ensure that you can do business with the city. Next slide, please. All right, so I know a lot of you guys are wondering how contracting works. So this is the contracting roadmap. It's a pretty picture, even though it doesn't have me in it. It's a tool that you can use to figure out where you are, as well as the next steps necessary to contract with the city, right? So you can access it by actually going to nyc.gov/contracting roadmap. Very simple to get to. And one of the benefits actually is that each of the tiles are interactive. So you can click on a tile, it'll show you everything you need to get done one by one, and we'll just go over some of those steps next, right? So here's how it works. Typically, you're gonna get ready to do business with the city. Then you're gonna show the city who you are. And then next you're gonna find contracting opportunities and then respond to the opportunities that you're interested in. We call that submitting a bid or a proposal. And if you're awarded a contract, then you'll unlock the next part of the map. So from here, you'll complete several award tasks so that you can get your contract registered. And once your contract is registered, you can complete the tasks, complete your financial tasks, and get paid, which I'm sure is everybody's favorite part. So most of you are likely just getting started. So if you're in the get started to do business step, we're going to go through that next. Next slide, please. So here are the tasks that you should focus on if you're just getting started, right? First, you must establish your organization as a nonprofit. What does that mean? Well, it means that you need to get a tax ID or an EIN, Employer Identification Number, with the IRS. But it doesn't stop there. Next, you need to register your nonprofit with the New York State Department of State and the New York State Charities Bureau. Next, you'll complete and create an account in the Payee Information Portal, also known as PIP. This is important because this is the system that the city uses to pay its vendors. And then next, after that, you're going to register for an NYC.ID. It's a mouthful, so we pronounce it NICE ID, right? This is the citywide ID system that allows you to log into various platforms such as Passport. And after that, you'll request a Passport account for your established organization, and then you can move on to the next step. Next slide, please, which is actually showing the city who you are. One of the most important tasks when it comes to this step is to become a pre-qualified provider. This is especially important for any organization that wants to do or is rather interested in providing health, human, or client-related services to the city, right? If you wish to compete for health and human service contracts with city agencies, you must complete what we call a health and human service pre-qualification application. It's a mouthful, so we actually just call it an HHSPQL, right? So if you're a nonprofit, however, that is only interested in city council discretionary awards, then instead of completing the health and human service pre-qualification application, you can complete the shorter discretionary pre-qualification application, the discretionary PQL. And both of these applications are located in Passport. Next slide, please. All right. The next and last step we'll discuss is actually finding contracting opportunities with the city, right? So here are 3 practical strategies that we recommend to help you get started. Strategy 1 is to research procurement on checkbooknyc.com. You can use checkbooknyc.com to access real-time data on the city's spending, procurement, contracts, and more. So I don't know if we have any data nerds in here, but I absolutely love perusing through it sometimes, just seeing what the city's spending their money on. So it does give you transparency and valuable insight so you can see what goods and services the city is currently purchasing, as well as from whom. So you can look for patterns. You can see which agencies are procuring goods and services that you may provide, or if there are certain times out of the year that they put these opportunities out. The second strategy, which is something that all of you guys are already doing, is attending citywide procurement events. So, as we all know, the city hosts various procurement events throughout the year, and those events are an excellent opportunity to network the same way that you guys are doing now, right? So it's an excellent way to gain insight, contracting opportunities, and learn more about the procurement process in regards to other agencies. You can check Eventbrite to see which events are happening near you. I'll give some resources on our own Eventbrite page. And then the third strategy, which is rather important, is just searching through Passport. Nearly all city agencies post their competitive contracting opportunities on Passport. So for those without a Passport account, we actually have a program called the Procurement Navigator that you can use to see what's currently available. But remember, if you want to submit a bid or a proposal for a contracting opportunity, you will need to have a Passport account. And if you want to compete for health and human service contracts, you will need to be HHS pre-qualified first. Next slide, please. All right, so I'll go ahead and end today by sharing some training and support sources and resources for mocks. The first one is a nice little QR code to our Learn Passport page. Our Learn Passport page has a resource library with step-by-step guides to help you just get stuff done in Passport. And trust me, they're pretty nifty. Passport is an ever-evolving platform. So you want to simply go to nyc.gov/Learn Passport, and you'll click on the appropriate sections and tables to just help you guys get stuff done, right? Our next slide, which I'm sure many people may be interested in, is we are now happy to offer virtual office hour appointments for nonprofits, right? That'll be, hopefully I'll be seeing a lot of you guys soon in the coming weeks, right? So you can actually share your screen to get Passport help from the Mox Learning and Development team on various topics. We can help you create an account. We can help you manage users in your account. We can even help you in regards to submitting the pre-qualification applications and finding contracting opportunities. So I'll move that up there for just like a couple more seconds. Take a picture, do your thing. Don't be shy. I don't bite. There we go. And then we have discretionary office hours. So we are now also happy to offer virtual office hour appointments where you can share your screen and get passport help from the MOX teams if you've been awarded a discretionary contract. So hopefully we'll be seeing a couple of you guys over there too, right? And to learn more about our upcoming trainings, I just gave a webinar. We have definitely several beneficial webinars and trainings, things to just help organizations like yours expand and move on. Please visit our Eventbrite page at moxvendortraining.eventbrite.com. And then for our Mox Learning page, or Mox Help page, our Mox Help page contains links to resources, frequently asked questions, and a link to get assistance, direct assistance from the Mox service desk. You'll create an account, you submit a ticket, we're happy to help you guys, that's what we're here for. And you can actually access that page by visiting nyc.gov/Mox Help. I love how the city tries to make the links as easy as possible. We all know how that goes. So the next slide will be, I think that's also the office hour appointments. Oh, there you go. Thank you for your time so much. Good luck to all of you guys on your procurement journey, and I hope to see some of you guys soon.
Thanks so much, Abram. All right. Next up, we have James Reyes, Assistant Director from New York City Council.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you guys for having me, and thank you, DYCD, for hosting this. Great job on your presentation. Hopefully, I think you had a few minutes left, so maybe I'll steal some of those minutes, because there's a lot of information to go over. If you haven't already made your way to our table in the back, there's a lot of great information. In addition to handouts, we have a QR code like everyone else, which will give you access to all of those documents electronically. With that being said, next slide. Okay, so everyone is here to learn about this. I've saw many different hands from many different variations of who's applied, who's received, who's never done this before. So we're not going to ask anyone to raise their hands. But a big point of what we're trying to do is educate everyone about, the funding sources and the funding process that the City Council has. Okay, so first and foremost, we're here to talk about expense discretionary funding, and up there is the formal definition, but I'm going to talk to you guys in real talk. So what discretionary funding is funds that we designate to nonprofits to provide programs and services, whether that be to expand the programs and services you currently provide, or it's to create and provide new programs and services that you are coordinating with the City Council. One thing to note about this is that this funding that we give out is reimbursement based. There is one exception we're going to talk about a little later, as we are testing out a discretionary grant pilot with our partners at DYCD, MOX, and MONS. This is actually the first year in FY26 that we are testing this out, so we are all excited about it. So this could free up some funds or make this a little more available, especially to the smaller nonprofits who we understand, and this is what it's really for. We understand it's hard for you to have the funds on hand to, front that and then get reimbursed. So we are hearing the community loud and clear, and we're trying to figure out ways around this, okay, to work with you guys. Okay, next up is who is eligible. That's always the next question, who is eligible. We can only, unfortunately, fund non-for-profit organizations. Eligibility requirements are listed on the screen, but specifically, basically what Mox just referenced. You need to, one, be registered with the IRS, have your own EIN number. You need to register with the Department of State as a nonprofit, as well as register with the New York State Attorney General's Charities Bureau. Okay, some organizations are exempt from the registration with the Charities Bureau, but even if you are, you're still required to do an exemption form. Okay, this also goes, I'm sure we have some folks here representing religious affiliated organizations. You guys are eligible for our funding. The one key thing is, like everything else, you have to be registered as a non-for-profit. You typically are exempt from registering with the Charities Bureau. The only catch here with City Council funding is that if you are funded, any program or service that you are funded to provide must be open to the public. That means it has to be advertised to the public. It can't just be on a bulletin board within your institution. It needs to be, open to the public, and that's important because we have to remember this is city taxpayer funding, city taxpayer dollars, so all of that has to be open to all. One thing to note before we move on is that for-profit entities unfortunately cannot apply for City Council funding. You may be able to participate in this as a subcontractor, but this is a perfect segue that the city council only allows a maximum of 30% for an award to be used for subcontracting. Yeah, it's very loud. Can I take this off? Because I can't do that. This is a little stiff for my liking. Okay. There we go. All right. Thank you. Okay. So, what I was saying is for-profit entities cannot receive or apply for funding from the city council, unfortunately. At max, you can receive or be part or participate via subcontract. Okay. Now, the city council only allows 30% of an award to be used for subcontracting. This is also a good segue. I'm sure some of you might be in here where you may not be an official nonprofit on your own. You may be fiscally sponsored by a larger organization. Unfortunately, the city council cannot fund fiscally sponsored organizations. Any situation like that, unfortunately, for the time being, is being viewed as a subcontract, so only 30% of that award can be used for that. So just clarification on that. Next. Okay, so how do you apply for city council funding? There's only one way to apply, and that's through the city council's website. The link is up there, and it's also available on the forms and documents that we provided. The application went live on January 5th, and the deadline for that application is February 18th. That's a Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know that might be a little funny to some folks, but we have to clarify. Reason we have to clarify is in years past, we used to end this at midnight. But the problem is that we want to make sure that we have staff on hand to assist organizations up until the end. Okay, and unfortunately, we were having organizations initiate or start an application at 10, 11 o'clock at night and had a lot of questions. So please do not be those folks. Please try and get an application in as soon as possible. I don't want to be in that position where I have to tell you, you're asking questions and there's an hour left, but unfortunately, it's very late. So please get an application as soon as possible. Also, with the electronic documents, we have a blank copy of the application because that's usually everyone's question. What's being asked? What information do I need? All of that is shared with you. Now, one thing to note about our application, if you've completed an application before, have credentials, it changed a little bit this year, which has created a lot of confusion. Our application portal or platform has been updated, and the problem with that update is, yes, it's nice, it looks new, it's a little more user-friendly than years past, but the problem is we don't have a way to connect the old or previously submitted applications with this new portal. So we now have this third option, which is at the bottom on the screen, which allows you to access that. If you have any issues, please contact discretionary@council.nyc.gov for assistance, okay? That's with anything that we related to the application, contracts. Any questions, discretionary@council.nyc.gov. Okay, some designation details. So the city council only applies funding caps or maximum levels to some organizations, and we have two categories of those organizations. The first are organizations that we consider to be newly created. So if your organization was created less than 2 years ago, the date that we are using is July 1st, 2024. And a funding cap or a maximum funding level will be applied to your organization in the first year. Okay, that total will be $20,000 in total from the city council, with no more than $10,000 coming from an individual council member. Okay, now the reason why we created that is because, like we said earlier, this is reimbursement based. So we don't want to overly fund a new nonprofit because they're going to need the funds on hand to spend it to get reimbursed. So we don't want to put a newly created organization in a major financial stressful situation. So we want them to get themselves familiar with the process, comfortable with the contracting and the MOX requirements and whatever they have to do for the agency. So for the first year now, if you do everything well in the first year, that funding cap will be removed regardless if you were created last week or not. So even if you are under 2 years old, as long as everything's successful in the first year, the funding cap will be removed. The second category we apply a maximum funding level are organizations we consider new to the city council. These are organizations that may have been created 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. But if they haven't received funding from the city council in the past 3 fiscal years, we consider them new to the city council. Now, these organizations can receive a maximum of $50,000 in total, no more than $25,000 from a council member. Now, you may be wondering why we apply a max to those groups. Reason being is that Michael, myself, Mox, we've dramatically changed the contracting process multiple times in the past 3 years. So because of all these changes, we want to make sure that even if the organization's been around for a while, that they get themselves familiar with the contracting process, they understand what the new rules and requirements are, and then again, same rules apply once it's done. As long as everything is successful in the first year, you can move forward without the funding cap in year 2. Next, you have a minimum funding level. So the City Council can only fund nonprofits for a minimum of $5,000 in total. So if you are seeking less than that, unfortunately, we can't fund you. So here's your cue. You need to ask for more. The only exceptions to this minimum funding rule are direct agency funding, and what we consider direct agency funding are designations directly to NYCHA tenant associations, public schools, community boards. The City Council also funds Department of Transportation pretty often for bike helmet giveaways. So what you'll see is you'll see those designations in our list being less than $5,000. Now, so those are the details in terms of funding. And then I have a few things. We adopted the budget last year on June 30th. We have a little less than $715 million. That's what our budget is to designate to nonprofits. Okay. And like I said, last year we received 12,000 applications, and we funded a little more than, we funded 160 citywide initiatives, which are very important to note too. So there's a lot of different funding sources there. Okay. So next up are the different types of expense funding that we offer. First, you have member discretionary funding. This is funding that is very specific to the council member or their districts. It's a very limited pot of funding, and it actually encompasses 4 funding sources there. Unfortunately, you can't select those sources on the application. You can only select the council member. So if you're here seeking funding specifically from a council member that's not associated with an initiative, just select the council member's name on the application. Next, you have speaker funding, very popular, and it's a very large pot of funding. But one thing to note about this is that the speaker does not, make those decisions on her own. What she does is she basically solicits a list from each council member, delegation, and caucus about big projects that they would like her to support. If you are seeking speaker funding, in addition to selecting speaker funding, you should select council members or delegations on that request, because you will need their support in order for that to be funded. Okay, so that's if you're interested in speaker funding. Member designated initiatives, we have quite a few. I want to say there's 12 member designated initiatives. 2 of them are actually designated by borough delegations. The other 10 are actually designated by council members. Now, those are split equally with the exception of DOVE, and that's because DOVE is based off of the number of NYPD radio calls for domestic violence related incidents. So some members get a little bit more than others depending on those calls. If you're interested in those, in addition to selecting them, you have to select a council member on the application. Next, you have citywide initiatives. Like I said, we funded 160 citywide initiatives last year. These are meant to address different needs across the city. Those are not designated by council members specifically, but you will need their support as well. And one thing to note about citywide initiatives, that if you're seeking funding from a citywide initiative, we need you to submit an individual application for that initiative. So we have this misconception with organizations that when they apply, some people select a whole bunch of members, a whole bunch of initiatives, thinking that it's increasing your chances of getting selected. It's doing the opposite for you. Okay, so specifically with citywide initiatives, we need you to complete a specific application for that initiative. Now, some folks may be like, why are you asking us to do that? We're asking that because we're taking that or viewing that as your formal proposal of how you would spend the money if you were funded in that initiative. The problem is when you select a whole bunch of things on an application, when we review those applications, if this is for a very specific initiative and you select it because you provide programming related to that, it's not helpful to us because we don't know how you would use it. So that's what we're seeking with this, and it's only so that we can fully review everyone who's seeking this and who's actually serious about that. Okay? And I say serious because if you're going to take the time out to do a full proposal for a citywide initiative, that means you're serious. When you're selecting anything that you think applies, like I said, sometimes we're reviewing these in the middle of the night and it's not going to make sense to the initiative. So if you're serious, an individual application. For the members, that's up to you. Reach out to each member's office. We are supplying you with budget contact information for every member's office, as well as if they have a meeting request form and all that. Lastly is the borough delegation, borough-wide initiative that's designated by the borough delegations as a whole. So I would reach out to delegation chairs. We're going to be announcing who those are very soon. Next. Vetting process. So in order to move forward with the contracting process after you have received up and designated funding, you will go through a review process. I've outlined some of the things that are being reviewed, such as EIN number, the forms on the application. We went through the 2 categories, compliance with the Charities Bureau, and then in Passport there's different sections where the agency can report on how the contracting process went. So all of that will be reviewed. This review process is conducted by our General Counsel's office at the City Council. So in order to move forward after receiving funding, you have to be cleared by the council. What that means to be cleared by the council will be completing this review process. Okay, if there's any issues, you will be notified by the council or the council member's office. Next. Important budget documents. So once you get designated, you're probably asking, where am I going to find this? Where will I find my designations? So these are 3 important budget documents. First is Schedule C. You should get yourself familiar with this document. This is a complete list of every initiative the City Council intends to fund for the fiscal year. But one thing to note is that this is only a snapshot, meaning we release this once when we adopt the budget for write-up, but just note that changes to that happen throughout the year, and where we reflect those changes is through a transparency resolution. So if you need changes to a designation or you're still awaiting a designation, it can happen in a transparency resolution. Lastly is budget modification. This is not really a public document, but just so you know, if you have a change that needs to be transferred between one agency to another, that doesn't happen as frequently, okay? So that would happen through a budget modification. Next. Discretionary grant pilot. I have 3 minutes, so I'm going to focus on this. So, like I said, this is new. We started this in FY26. This was only open to organizations receiving $25,000 or less without existing contracts. Okay, there's only 4 agencies currently working on this, and the last step, other than the amount and having no contracts, was that you had to be cleared by both the council and MOX. In year 2, which is the upcoming year, we're planning on expanding this to everyone who is receiving $25,000 or less in total, not per designation, in total. Okay, we're also looking to expand the agencies, the city agencies involved, and the rules will remain the same in terms of clearance. So you would still need to be cleared by both the council and MOX. Okay, next. All right, so some differences between the grant and the contract. So for the traditional grant, funds are awarded through multi-year contracts. Nonprofits and agencies complete those contracting tasks in Passport, and then the nonprofits generate invoices for the programs and services that they've provided, and then submit those invoices for a reimbursement. The reimbursement time frame varies based off of many factors. You're back and forth with the agencies, how long it takes to submit those documents, review those documents. So unfortunately, time frame cannot be clear. But for grant pilots, a little different. Funds are awarded through 1-year grants. Nonprofits sign and submit a grant agreement via DocuSign. Once the grant agreement is reviewed and approved, 100% of that grant will be dispersed to the recipient. That will be done with the city agency, and then once those funds are dispersed, the group goes, spends, provides the program or activities, and then we'll have to submit a final report. In the final report, you will submit your final budget, your invoices and receipts for review. As long as everything goes well, you will proceed and be approved. If there's any issues, we will meet with you to work on that and try and work through that. But if for whatever reason a group does not submit their final report, we find too many issues, that could potentially affect your funding for the future. So just be clear with that. All right, next. I'm out of time, but I just want to explain the next 2 slides quickly. Next, after that, this is just a flow chart of the contracting process. I know that MOX has a very nice, pretty one, but this one is related to discretionary specifically in terms of the application and where it goes from there, and just so you get a better understanding of how and where it goes after it's designated, okay? That's all my time. Thank you. If you have questions, we have question and answers coming up soon.
Thank you so much, James. All right, 2 more speakers, and then we get to the Q&A. All right, so I'm going to bring up Renise Ferguson, our Executive Deputy ACO at DYCD. Good evening, everyone. How you guys doing? Yeah, you feeling good? You got a lot of information, right? All right, so I'm about to give you some more, but I'm going to make this quick. Again, my name is Renice, and I'm from the procurement unit here at DYCD. We call ourselves PACE because we stand for Procurement, Accountability, Contracts, and Evaluation. Next slide, please. All right, so I'm going to give you a little piece of what we do, and this is going to be after you've got your contract, basically, right? Because as you know, we're all about paperwork. We want you to do more stuff, so after you get the contract, there's still more steps involved. So I'm going to talk about our contract registration requirements. Next slide. All right, so I can barely see that. All right, responsibility determinations. Per the Procurement Policy Board rules, the PPB rules, -2008, the city wants us to award contracts to responsible entities. That means that we're going to check your finances, we might do a Google search, we might ask you for different documentation because we're doing a business integrity check. Because we want to make sure that any funding that we give out is to an organization that's going to be using that money responsibly. And that's why we call that our responsibility determination. All right, next slide. All right, so some items that you may be asked for, that you need for the responsibility determination are passport, right? We talked about passport earlier. You have to have a passport account. You have to complete what they call disclosures of passport, because we are going to be looking at that information. We talked about charities compliance, right? If you're a nonprofit, you have to comply with charities. Every year, right? It's just like your taxes. They come for you. They ask you about your finances, all that good stuff. So you're going to do your charities. You're going to make sure you have an audit. All that stuff is good. What else are we going to ask for? We're going to make sure that you fill out what we call a certification regarding substantiated cases of child abuse and neglect. That's a document. We'll give it to you. Sometimes you're going to have to upload that into Passport already. If you are familiar with Passport, you know there's a document vault. So a lot of the information that we're asking for you, you can just upload it into that document vault and we'll pull it from there. Your doing business data form, that is done inside of Passport. So once you have your contract and it's been launched, I know we're talking about all these different things that you may not know just yet, but once it's launched in Passport, you'll have the ability to fill out that doing business data form right in that system. And then at DYCD, we're going to see, have you done business with the city in the past 5 years? We're going to make sure that it was satisfactory. And if it wasn't, then we're going to ask you about it. And then also, we talked about PQL, right? I think Mox talked about your PQL application. Make sure that's good and it's up to date and it's in good standing. Because if it's not, we're going to come right back to you and ask you to make sure that it gets up to date. Next slide. And then we also have insurance requirements. All of our contracts, all of our contractors, they need to meet certain insurance requirements. They're laid out here. I won't go into super detail with them, but we have a whole DYCD insurance team that if you're unsure, you don't know what it's supposed to be, you're having issues with your broker, you'll be able to reach out to that team and they'll offer you, they'll be able to assist you, they'll help you navigate that process. Next slide. And then how do we avoid delays? Well, we're making sure that all of our documentation is up to date, right? Again, you know the dates for your charities. You make sure that that is up to date, right? If anything has expired, if we reach out to you and ask you for documentation, please make sure to get back to us timely, because then you guys are going to reach out maybe to moms and then say, hey, DYCD is holding up my contract. And then come to find out, well, we asked you for something, but you didn't get back to us just yet. All right, so we're all about working together so that we can make this process easy for you. Next slide. And then some requirement highlights, contract requirement highlights. There is an Appendix A located in your contract, and it has some various clauses that we want to make sure that you are all, you have some information about. We have an anti-nepotism clause, there's conflict of interest, there's also board composition, and then community hiring. I encourage you all, before you sign your contracts, make sure you read them. Read them thoroughly. Make sure that you are agreeing to everything that is there, because that can also delay the process. Next slide.
Okay, so I put this up here because I don't know if you guys know, but before Adams left office, he made a huge investment into after school. So DYCD released a huge after school RFP, which we are in the process of evaluating now. But if you did not get in on that opportunity, I want to encourage you to scan this QR code, because those vendors are going to be looking for programs to enhance their contract. They're going to be looking for people who might do dance, they might do yoga, maybe you provide financial literacy, maybe you provide STEM, all those good things that maybe your organization does provide. And that way, you may not have a direct contract with DYCD, but you may also be able to get in through a subcontracting process. All right? So we encourage you, everyone. I hope this was really quick for you. You got everything that you needed. There is a Q&A, so if there's anything else, I am here to answer questions as best as possible. And thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thanks, Renice. Last but not least, my partner in crime, Valentin Lopez, Associate Commissioner for Discretionary Programs at DYCD. He will carry you to the end of the night in the Q&A portion, so I'm going to turn the mic over to my partner in crime.
So before Ebony leaves, I'd like everybody to stand up so I can take you through the next 3 hours of this event. No, but I really want to hear it up for Ebony, right? She did a great job.
Thank you.
So let's give it up. And I'm going to be like Gene because I'm a people person. I need to be out on the people. So a couple of plugs, right? I want to make sure, I want to thank our partners, our sister agencies who supported today's event. I want to make sure you take all the information that's on the back tables before you leave tonight. But we also want to give you the opportunity to ask questions. So if you are going to ask questions, we ask you to line up on the far left, on the far right, or your right, my left. Line up there. We'll take your questions for any one of the panelists. And it's my job to kind of summarize what we talked about tonight. So we had a lot of great resources, right? Did we get a lot of good resources tonight? Let's hear it up. A lot of good presentations, a lot of good opportunities for your organizations, the participants that you serve. So make sure that you stop at each and every table to gather that information. On the contracting side, when you come over to Ebony shared that I'm responsible for the discretionary portfolio at DYCD. And I'm kind of summarizing what goes on through the entire process. We heard from our friends at Mox. So if you look up at the screens, you see the different phases. Phase 1, we talked about pre-qualification and making sure that your information is updated and that you're pre-qualified. Step 2, which we are in now, right? The city council application. You want to make sure you get your application in, because if you are not in it, can't get it, right? So you want to make sure you're in it. It closes February 18th. So you want to be sure you're in it and you have all the resources. James said that they have staff on board to make sure that you have support through the application process. And then phase 3 is kind of where you land in my office and with my staff and Renice's staff, where we walk you through the contracting process. And we're here to support you. We have office hours. We do a lot of team meetings. So we want to be able to open that up to you as well. And then finally, what we're waiting for is the money and the money to access, right? So those are the 4 phases of contracting when it comes through my shop. And I want to make sure that you are supported. So what I would like to do now is, again, if you have any questions, line up on the far right, my left, and then we'll take questions for any one of the panelists. Just I ask you to state your name, your organization, and your question. Take it away.
Hello?
Okay, sorry. Hey, good afternoon. I just had my name is Adrian. I'm a local teaching artist. I heard something about literacy in a couple of presentations, literacy definitely leads to liberation. How are you all, like, I heard about, I think CCB's Youth Advisory Council. Do any of the organizations have similar things where young people can learn the ins and outs of your organization throughout the year? I know we have like our own things, but are things internally for you all? Or
Excuse me, folks. Excuse me 1 second if we could keep it down. So, hello, folks. I'm going to ask DYCD staff if we could keep it down in the back so we can hear the questions, please. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to repeat? You could. All right, yes. So I know one of the organizations has a youth advisory council. Do any other organizations have something similar for the youth to learn the literacy and behind the scenes of your organizations, especially to be intentional? You know, those are New Yorkers as young people, so helping them as everyone else comes in and does all the great things to be a part of the future of your organizations as well.
Hi, Sandra with NYC Service. We have a whole youth program at my agency, and Stuart Davis, who's an alum of DYCD, he leads a program called Youth Action 50. So they work with youth groups, and a lot of teachers help facilitate this program, but if you come see us, we'll connect you to him.
I'll just say, hi, this is Jacques from SBS. We do have, we work with SYEP interns, and we also have our Accelerator Fellowship for college students, and also the CUNY Fellowship for college students. So those who are interested in working with our office, learning more about small businesses, economic development, there's definitely opportunities to do that alongside us.
Thank you.
So in addition to the Youth Advisory Council that we have, we also work with SYEP students and Ladders for Leaders. So we do have young people that are interested in kind of building with the CCRB during the summertime or working with Ladders for Leaders. They could apply and then select the CCRB as a work site. And we have something separate from the YAC that they'd be able to participate in as well.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Fatima from Mox, Dr. Fatima from Mox. We also do SYEP and Ladders for Leaders. And I have 2 openings on my team for this summer for learning and development. So if you have any youth that are interested in doing training, outreach events across New York City, please send them our way.
Thank you so much.
That's all.
James Ray, City Council Finance. We also have a fellowship program, but your best bet for outside of the fellowship program is each council member's office. They also, some have spots for SYEP, but they also host info sessions for youth because they love getting the youth involved in different workshops like that. So in addition to the council's fellowship program, each council member's office has their own stuff too.
Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you. Again, if you could keep it down in the back so we can hear the questions, and also get some resources in the back as well. Next question.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate this event today. I was wondering if any of you have been informed or know of what Children's HCBS or CFTSS is in New York. No worries. I ask specifically because it's a service that provides families with case managers who get families transportation for their children, food, benefits, things of that nature. Specifically, if a child is on an IEP, 504 plan, experience or living with trauma or asthma. I've been to a few of these events. I'm actually surprised that I've never had anyone say that they have served these services. These services are actually free for our families and our entire community.
Keep it down, please. Keep it down.
And I apologize, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Nathaniel Fleming. I represent the Penelope Group, and we help those families who are under those eligibilities get those services for free. They can have it for their families, for their children from ages 3 all the way to 18 years old at no cost to the family. They'll get education, mentorship, and services inside the home and outside the home. And I just encourage each and every one of you to look into what HCBS for children or CFTSS for children in New York State is. It's a wonderful service. Thank you so much.
We'll definitely connect with you, Nathaniel. Thank you for that.
Hello, my name is Yvette McQueen, and I am the artistic director of the nonprofit called the Harlem Dancers Warehouse. I almost forgot the name of the organization. The Harlem Dancers Warehouse. We're 3 years in, and I have a couple of questions, but it mainly deals with SBS. I wasn't able to apply before, but now I am, and apparently I have 2 applications in, and I didn't know it. And I've been dealing with Margo, who's been trying to get me help so that I can get in, because I want to be on the MWBE vendor list. That is my main concern today. And then my other question is, I have children that I actually...
Excuse me, sorry. Let's keep it down, folks. Thank you.
I have a contract with the Department of Education, so I teach at Mott Hall High School, I also use their facility, which I'm very blessed to have. They have a beautiful dance studio. And the teenagers that I have in my class, I like to hire them for the summer because I get contracts with Sunshine Daycare. One is Haitian, and she doesn't have a social security number, so I don't know if anybody can help me with trying to, I don't know if it's possible for her to get get in with SYTEP. I'm not sure, so those are the two questions I have.
So SBS first.
Hi, Jacques here. On the MWBE, please connect with me directly. I want to see what exactly is going on with that application. And I sit right next to Margot, so I can help facilitate that and get
How do I contact you?
Come talk to me now and I'll give you my card.
Okay.
Thank you. And in reference to SYP, we can make the connection for you right after this to see how we can help that student.
Go back then. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have just a quick question. My name is Ibrahim. I'm from Protomala Foundation. I'm just pretty much new. So far my understanding for the discretionary fund, each category I have to apply separately. And how many applications I can do?
Hello? Yes, James Ray, City Council. So yes, there's no limit on how many applications you submit, so you can submit as many applications as you'd like. In terms of how many you should submit, it really comes down to who you're applying to. So like we mentioned earlier, the only source that requires an individual application to it is citywide initiatives. So if you're seeking citywide initiative funding, that needs to be an individual application per citywide initiative. For the members are all very different. We have 51 of them. Each has their own unique thing that they want. Some want an individual application, some don't care. So there's no right or wrong way. You can select multiple members on one application. You could put one application per member, however you see fit. The biggest thing is that you circle back and you reach out to those offices. The reason being is that they're designated at their discretion. So that's why I say reach out to whoever you're seeking funding from and see what they want. Some may want an individual application for their district, to them. Some may be okay with one application to everyone. You just tell them what you need. Like, they're all different. So if you're seeking funding from members, reach out to those members' offices.
I got the answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Arish Javadi with More Gardens Fund. I just wanted to start, first of all, thanking you all for the new grant version, which DCLA has been doing, which has been like, I think it's going to be a lifesaver. I mean, we nearly got $5,000 for the amount of paperwork we did. We've spent more time in our life to get $5,000 to do that.
We agree with you 100%.
And it's really important to thank whoever made that decision. I mean, I've been doing it for 25 years, and it's really good that it's happening for the new people. So thank you for that. I'm going to go into the more of like the really like the labyrinth of what Passport is, and it is like made, I'm sure, for a good reason for like many of the agency or vendors that might not be nonprofits or little nonprofits. I would highly recommend that you create some kind of interface that just allows like little nonprofits just to deal with their own kind of world and not have like 50 tabs that I have no idea half of them what they do, why, and then when you try to put that all together, it always blocks up somewhere and you don't know how to do it. And then thank again one more thing for now being able to go and get an agent. Wesley helped me just a day or two ago. It's great. That's so important because last year I literally spent like 5 months waiting for somebody from Mox to get back to me and give me some kind of information that half the time they didn't quite know what was going on. But Wesley was great, and this is really hugely helpful. So again, that's huge jumps for some reason in the last few years. Thank you. But again, like keeping somehow more of a sense of a lot of the smaller nonprofits where they really need that kind of ease of interface and getting the money back just right away and then spending it. So thank you. I had one question for
CCRB.
Yes. What is your muscle? Like, how do you affect I didn't quite understand. Like, yes, you can have all of this great stuff that people are really upset about, but how do you, like, deal with this massive police force, which, you know, seems to own half of New York, to have, like, tell them, like, don't do that, that's wrong, or, you know, you need to go to jail, etc. So, yeah.
So following a CCRB investigation, the CCRB has the ability to make recommendations to the police department. So we determine that police misconduct did occur. We then recommend to the police department, this is how you should discipline your officers to ensure that they don't repeat the same level of misconduct or repeat the same mistakes again. If the police commissioner agrees with us, then they level that misconduct, that discipline against the officer. Let's say they don't. In most cases, they still put some type of misconduct, they still put some type of discipline to correct the officer's conduct. In that space, it then sends a message, you know, misconduct is going to be corrected in one way, shape, or form. Where we disagree, we disagree. So the system in and of itself is not perfect because the agency, in all transparency, does not have final disciplinary authority, but we do make recommendations for discipline based off of a document that the NYPD has. So in most cases, the NYPD agrees with the discipline that we recommend and they implement that discipline.
So the other thing that I want to encourage, right, it's not only about the interaction with the officer, but it's also the education component that they offer to the nonprofits where they go out and give education to those participants coming into your program. And I'm sure they're happy to share information with you as well. Thank you very much.
And for anyone that wants that information, Prince Kobina is in the back. Feel free to stop by our table and you can feel free to get his contact information to request a presentation.
Omar Thompson, the founder and director of New Harlem Renaissance. I have a question for City Council. Are there any kind of minimum years needed to apply for capital funding?
Yes, that's a great question. We didn't really talk about capital today, but in order to be eligible, you have to have 3 years of, I believe, $25,000 or $50,000 in city contracts. Doesn't have to be from the council.
Okay.
In order to be eligible for nonprofit capital funding.
Okay.
Okay, if you want more information about that, you can email us at discretionary@council.nyc.gov, and I'll give you more details on the capital eligibilities, because I believe they have a minimum requirement of like multiple years for like equipment purchases, and then a little bit higher for like actual construction projects, like renovations and stuff.
Is that reimbursable?
Yes, some of it is, and some of it is not a reimbursable base.
What's the cap?
All great questions. I don't know them offhand, so we'll check in together.
Okay.
If you want. All right. We can give that information to Ross at my table back there, and just let him know that it's relating to capital, and we'll follow up with our capital team tomorrow to reach out to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Just stop by the table.
Hello, my name is Natalia Walker, and I'm the founder and executive director of Seeds of Fortune. I have two questions. My first one is, we were awarded city council funding, but found the process very cumbersome to figure out how to get the disbursement. If you were awarded in 2024, I keep getting emails from Mox to complete the HHS. Are we still able to get access to those funds once we complete that process? I did sign up for the one-on-one counseling, so just hoping that that's still available, since the process seemed very overwhelming to try to get the funds we were awarded.
So, unfortunately, I don't think FY24 funds are still available, unfortunately. So how this works is the organizations typically have to spend the funds within the fiscal year they were designated, but at the same time, the city tries to close. So we don't keep 3 fiscal years open at a time. So FY24 in theory is closed, meaning the agency, if you were cleared, they might still be able to work with you, because we don't like to turn people away because this is reimbursement based, but the fact that you weren't cleared at that time, unfortunately, I don't think that the Mayor's Office of Contract Services is updating clearances for old FY24 awards at this time. But moving forward, I totally hear you loud and clear about the issues. If you can express those to the City Council sooner, and we can try and work with you then, because it's a shame now to give you an answer like that, to be like, hey, you probably spent money 2 or 3 years ago and you just wanted to be reimbursed. So unfortunately, just keep an eye on it, because there's a time limit on, we usually only keep it over like 1.5 years and then we close it.
So one thing that I would suggest also, there might be if you're getting those emails, you may be cleared. So we definitely want to make sure that we get your contact information in back, because we can look into that and give you some clear guidance, because you may be cleared. They're just telling you that you may have to make some action. So we want to get you moving on that if it is clear.
If you receive that email, then more than likely you are cleared.
Okay.
So do you have an appointment already, a discretionary appointment?
I did sign up for one for Friday.
Okay, so we'll get you sorted.
Thank
And,
you.
and definitely if you leave your contact information in the back, we can link it to it as well on our side.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for this gathering all this information.
Folks, could we keep it down in the back, please? Sorry.
No worries. So my name is Janelle Lewis, and I have first a question that might benefit the larger group. For-profit organizations or companies that would love to partner with nonprofits, faith-based organizations, can you illuminate a little bit more about what that partnership opportunity would look like? What does the process look like? Who is approaching all of this system? Like, how does that actually work if we want to partner together?
So most often, and I'm speaking on behalf of DYCD because I can't speak for my sister agencies, most often that partnership looks like either a co-location where you're looking for space and you can offer a service at that location. It can be a consulting services where you can go and provide some support to the staff, or it can be a subcontractor we talked about where you're bringing a service to that organization to support their proposal or their award through the discretionary process.
So I'm understanding, take a look at what nonprofits are already looking to do something that I can partner and support them in doing.
That's correct, and I think Renee shared the link also where we just went through the RFP, and there's a lot of those groups who are looking to make connections with for-profit organizations who could bring services to support their organization in the plan that they've output in the proposal.
Perfect. Second question really quickly, for people who are looking to offer solutions that are more long-term based, like generational health, maternal health, like those are a bit longer in scope to address versus like a one-off like a leadership workshop or something like that. Is there any difference in approaching those kind of opportunities, even like writing up the RFP applications? Does that look different? Is the conversation needing to be different, or languaging needs to be different for that?
So I'm going to tell you two answers to that, and then I'm going to share it with whoever's up. We have the executive director for the Mayor's Office of Nonprofit who is here, who is showing that our response to your question and to support your need, he's here, right? The other executive directors may not be here. He's here. He takes all referrals, and I don't want to speak for Michael, but he gets all the information and he brings it back to the agency. He gets us all on the table. He gets us all on the chat and says, hey, I heard this at the forum. I want to share this. What do you guys think? He's a great resource, and I would ask you to stop at their table, make sure that they have your contact, where they can give you information and how to connect, and that's one way to do it. We also have our capacity building team who are still here, who you can connect with, long-term services through technical assistance and support services. They'll be happy to work with you as well.
Thank you so much.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
I'm so sorry. Before we get to the next question, I just wanted to say to this young lady and anybody else who is interested in subcontracting, make sure that you have a passport account, make sure that you have an account in the pay information portal, and make sure you are filed in Passport. If you do that, you will expedite the process of being approved as a subcontractor after you have your agreement. The subcontractor should have a passport, a PIP, and be filed in Passport.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening. My name is Terry Wisdom, and I'm the CEO and founder of Harlem Network News. And we make sure that Harlem to the world, and everybody are informed about what's going on. I have a question. We fortunately are the recipient of the discretionary funds with our city council. And yes, it has been a cumbersome process, but the MOX people have been very helpful, as well as the nonprofit unit. I mean, the people that really held my hand to do the things and shared my screen and all of that. And I think more of that is necessary, like when they had the big forum and everybody listened and you can't really ask any questions, that was not that helpful. But the one-on-one people were really exceptional. And I also have a question because I was, doing all the stuff with MOX in the city, and then it crossed over to DYCD, and I didn't even know that, this is my first time, so I didn't know that was going to happen. So I'd like to understand the relationship that DYCD has with this whole thing, because that's where I guess the money's coming from, and there's more stuff that we had to do with DYCD. So.
All right. Great question. So how this works is it begins with the city council. This is if we're talking discretionary, but
yes.
If you get designated, how it works is your designated funding, we briefly touched on that vetting process, which is the review process by the council. Once you get cleared by that, then you go to MOX. They have their requirements, which it's usually capacity training, pre-qualification, and passport account, in addition to being cleared by the council. DYCD is considered the managing contracting agency of your award. Now, it doesn't have to always be DYCD, it could be DIFT or it could be SBS, but what determines the contracting agency is what you are funded to provide, what type of program or service that is, and that's how DYCD. So DYCD is your contracting agency. Once you got yourself cleared by MOX, that gave DYCD the green light to begin contracting with you, and that's all happening within that passport system.
Okay, and the other question I had, I think it's amazing that there is a pilot program, because as you said, it would be very difficult, so I think it's great that that happened. And I have been navigating that pilot program too, so I'm very grateful for that. But I wanted to find out, because now it's time to do the application again, when we're still, they just email me today to do something else. There's a lot of things. But if you were eligible for the pilot program this time, will you, if you still meet the criteria, be eligible for it again?
Excellent question. So the goal with this is that, yes, we're going to make anyone receiving a total of $25,000 or less eligible for this grant, and the whole goal and purpose behind this is to reduce the number of contracts that the city council is generating and sending to the DYCDs and the DIFTAs. So yes, as long as you are under $25,000 in total from the council, that will automatically, now you will get that option to participate or decline participation when the agency sends you that grant agreement. Okay? Now, some people may ask, why wouldn't I want to participate in the grant? There is one reason for folks who would not want to participate. If you are expecting to get more than $25,000, if you receive $25,000 of adoption and you expect to get anything extra, you should decline. Reason being is we're going to make it very clear to the council members that they cannot give any organization that's part of the grant pilot extra money. Reason being is that we can't, because there's a tight timeline on the grant, which is why this is going to work. Everyone is playing by the same rules. Everyone has the same deadlines. There will be no extensions to those deadlines, so we need to make that very clear. That's a big part of the issue right now, is there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of review time that's taking up and delaying things. So right now, everything is set up with a 30-day time limit. You get your grant agreement, you have to submit that in 30 days. The agency has 30 days to review it. Once it's reviewed, they have 30 days to pay you, and then you have 30 days after the activity is completed to submit your report. So with that, it's going to be very helpful to keep this on a timely basis. So if you are expecting to get extra money, we can't add to a grant, but that wasn't what this was meant to do. This was meant to get the small groups, the small dollar designations out earlier. If you are here and expecting to get more money, that's great. You would decline that. You would just go through the contracting process like another organization. The beauty about that is that there's no caps to that. If a council member want to give you an extra $20,000, $30,000, they can, or just be added to your contract. With the grant, we can't do that, unfortunately. So great question.
So last quick question, speaker funds
Yes.
versus the funds from your city council?
Yes.
Because
I didn't try to do that.
So the real difference is, it doesn't have much of a difference, but one difference is that usually speaker funding is higher dollar value. That's why you need the council members to support you, because the council members have a very limited pot of funding that they fully control. So when they see a request come in that may be really important to their district, but it's $50,000, $60,000, that's a big price tag for them because they don't have that. But those are the projects that they will usually ask the speaker, like, hey, Madam Speaker, I have this really great organization in my district. They're doing really great work. They need $50,000. It's a little more than I can give. Would you be able to support it? Those are the type of projects that the speaker funds.
Can anybody do that?
Anybody.
Or is that?
There's no limits to that. It really comes down to
thank you, sir.
anyone is eligible for that. Just know that we have those funding categories that we do the maximum levels for. If you fall into that, that would be the only, but anyone can apply to that. The real catch is you need member support.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my question is about oversight and accountability, okay, when it comes to discretionary funds. First, I want to thank Valentine. I'm Tiffany Fulton from Silent Voices United, Inc.
Nice to
People
meet
that
you.
know me know my work. I've been doing 2008. I got my first $5,000 last year, which I finally got that, thank God, for everybody that helped me. But now, my concern is I got $10,000 and it was taken back, okay? I was unaware that it was taken back. I know it was on the budget in July. I went on Tracker, it was on Tracker. And then in September, or not even September, October, I got an email from Dove that the funds were taken back. So where's the oversight and accountability? And if it's not any, what happens when people or council people take back money and there's no accountability to why?
Good question. So in terms of accountability, in terms of council members reallocating funds on organizations, so how the council works is that, as I said, when we adopt a budget, Schedule C is released, that is a snapshot. Okay, what happens when Schedule C is released? Council members review that, organizations review that, and then the whole situation is assessed to see who was forgotten, who, whatever the case may be. So council members will go back to the drawing board and review their list and see who they funded. Also, very important, is your clearance status. If you're not cleared by the Council of Mocks, you are free game for a council member to reallocate your funds because they don't know when you will be cleared, and their goal is to try and get those funds used within their council district within that fiscal year. That's why it's very important that you try and get cleared. Now, for a situation like yours, we have to talk offline because we kind of have a checks and balance system in where we try our best not to allow council members to reallocate things. Usually our cutoff is October. Like everything is free game in the beginning of the year because they're like the dust is settled and they're figuring things out, but October is usually when we tell them they can't make any further changes. When those changes come in, if you're cleared, we usually will relate to the agency because it doesn't help the agency either when we do that because they put effort into this and then they have to update and amend contracts. So we can talk offline because usually this is part of the issue with member discretionary. It's at their discretion. So we'll connect offline, we figure out who and when and why that happened and go from there. But unfortunately, there's not much we can do on that aspect. You should reach out to the council member, whoever it was that did something like that, and let them know.
I did via email,
Okay.
and nobody responded back to me.
Well, you want to make sure we get your information?
Yeah, let's get that
But they
information.
want to have it. So you want to make sure you connect with them.
You got it. Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Mingo. I'm part of Mingo Tennis Foundation. We provide tennis throughout the community. We work with DYCD on some contract programs over the last 2 years for fiscal year 24 and 25. And there was a event programming that we tried to apply for in Mark. So this question is for Mark. We were a nonprofit organization, but our E&I number in Mark has a different I guess you want to say EN number other than the nonprofit organization that we have. We wanted to find out how we go by and getting that changed. I went online to try to follow up. They were saying I needed to start a new profile, and what the profile I have is with email. So I need some, if it could give any direction on that.
So what I'm going to do is ask you to see the mocks table in the back, and they're going to give you a QR code to have a one-on-one session. So either Abram or myself will connect with you, and we'll walk you through how to handle that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi, my name is Keisha McCroskey, and I'm the CEO of Seeds for Growth and Development. What I do at Seeds for Growth and Development, I have survivors of human trafficking and domestic violence. So I would like to know, I just got into Passport. I just finished everything, I swear to God. And Michael, he helped me out. But my question is, in addition of waiting for funding, I would like to partner with other organizations to do human trafficking training in DV because it's a need. And every borough, every city, everybody needs to know about human trafficking, especially for our missing children. So how do I partner up with other cities, agencies, not-for-profit schools or whatever? How do I connect with you guys to help me? Because I can't wait on for funding to do that, but I do need some kind of stipends or something to keep this going, because I started in my resource center and I want to continue on doing it. So how do I do that?
I can only speak for the council, and you have a wealth of knowledge here, but from the council, I would recommend that you connect with council members and let them know what you're doing, where you're doing it, and we, the city council, funds quite a few initiatives that relate to what the topics you're referring to, so you have a lot of people who will champion and support your ideas to expand that. So my recommendation would be to reach out to certain council members. If you're already doing it in a borough, reach out to those members first. If you're looking to expand to a different borough, a different district, reach out to that borough or that district's members. Let them know what you're doing, what you've already done, why you're looking to come over there. And like I said, I think you can gain a lot of traction and support because members are very loud. They'll make the noise that you need when it comes to connecting. Now, in terms of connecting with other nonprofits, that's when I'm going to hand it over to one of the city agencies because I'm sure they have tons of resources for that.
Okay.
Hey, Keisha, good to see you again. I would say we have the training opportunities that we mentioned and Miguel can speak to, where we take folks through week-long courses and build community, but really it's also to do what you're doing right now, like meet other people, figure out opportunities. Mark's talked a little bit about getting in Passport to find subcontracting opportunities. Those are all, you're doing all the right things by showing up and learning how to navigate these processes. But to Jimmy's point, pretty much every opportunity with the city has to go through a competitive process where there's, a formal process of grading and scoring different submissions, etc. But really the one option for nonprofits where you can just say, hey, I have a great idea, it meets local needs, is the discretionary contracting process. And only but 5 to 6 weeks of the year can I come to you and can Jimmy come to you and say that application is live right now. Right now that application is live. So I would, like tonight, go home, pull up the application process, apply and say, this is the need in our district. Here is the services that my nonprofit can provide, and then see where it goes from there. But make sure those council members know who you are, understand the services, and have a relationship between you and the services you provide.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, folks. So here's the plugs, right? We want to make sure and give you the opportunity to visit the tables, right? There's some real good information at each of the tables. I'm also plugging our community needs assessment. We are looking for participation within the community needs assessment to tell us in your neighborhoods what are the needs that we should include in our RFPs. This gives you a voice. This gives you a real opportunity. So if you haven't done so, be sure to stop that, complete. She got some good candy. Anita got some good candy there too. So you want to make sure. You also have the QR code, which is going to come live. It's coming. It's coming. So we'll have the QR code. We also want you to do the evaluation on tonight's event. Like Deputy Commissioner Bob had said, we use your information to kind of plan out our next event and give you the resources that you were looking for, or how we can support you as well. I also want to thank our sister agencies who brought a lot of information to everyone. So thank you to all of you. I want to thank the entire DYCD staff. I want to give a special shout out to Tasha Black, right? who kept us focused with her emails and her calls and made sure that we were successful tonight. She also made sure that we had the partners on the panelists who were very important to provide resources. So Tasha, shout out to you, great job. And then more importantly, we want to thank you, right? Without you and without you providing the services to the participants coming through the door, we are nothing here. The panelists, the city, we rely on you. I speak for DYCD. We have over 90% of our money is contracted out. We don't do a lot of direct services. So we owe a debt of gratitude to each and every one that's in this room. Funded or not, we owe you, so you should all give give yourself an applause. And then last, again, I'm going to pitch the tables because there's folks that are seated at the table that are going to give you information. There was a lot of questions and a lot of follow-ups, so we want to be sure that we give you enough time. And we also want to network, right? We talked about networking and getting to know each other. So you guys, I would encourage you to share your cards, share your locations, so this way you can kind of network and share your ideas and your plans. And thank you on behalf of DYCD and the administration. And the QR code is up, so make sure they're giving me the pointer, so I gotta make sure that you get up there. Make sure you give us the evaluation, you take your picture, you take your screen, and plug the CNA. Thank you, folks. Have a great night. Get home safe.